பல்லாவரம் ஃபோக்கஸ் மென்ஸ்வேர் இப்போது மேடவாக்கத்திலும் ஓப்பனிங் ஆஃபர் டி-ஷர்ட் வெறும் 19, ஷர்ட்ஸ் 79 மற்றும் அனைத்து ஆடைகளும் 799க்குள் கிடைக்கும்.
And actually in the film how gradually the couple get to know each other. Yeah. Similarly we also got to know each other gradually only.
But when you see the film, I feel that it all makes sense.
I personally felt that I would not be able to bring anything new.
Hello Team Bawaal, welcome to Galatta Plus. I'm going to start with you, Varun. Yesterday at the trailer launch, you said that you and Janhvi come from different schools of acting. Can you explain that a bit?
Please.
I mean different schools as in every film there's a different way I approach a role, and every film I'd like to do it very differently in tandem with the director. You know, there'd be a partnership how we do it. In this, initially when we went on set, at least for the first 1 month, I tried this thing where I said I won't communicate with her much.
Okay.
Because I felt we'll become friends like this, you know. But I said, let me not, and let me be a little
Aloof.
Yeah, by myself, little cold. You know, I'll talk to everyone else, but I won't. And purposely. Because I felt it might evoke something in her and will evoke something in me when we were doing scenes which are of that nature. And Sir was in on this. I would
Only
keep
I
telling
wasn't
him.
in on this. I just thought he was being mean.
And then eventually I told her, and then she was like, oh, that's why you were doing it. But she took it personally, I think, for the first 20.
did.
Which I guess helped the performance.
I think so, yeah.
I think it helped. See, I did it selfishly for myself initially, but I think it did help both of us at that time. And then, and actually in the film, how gradually the couple get to know each other.
Yeah.
Similarly, we also got to know each other gradually only,
Right,
which was interesting.
Do you think so that we have two different schools of acting, me and Varun?
I didn't really notice, you know. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter to me what school you guys have been to, as long as I get my shot.
As long as they're convincing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I got that. Yeah.
So from the trailer yesterday, it seems like, you know, the war is an external manifestation of the conflict that's going on inside the couple. Like, you don't have to say yes or no right now, but that's the sense that I got. But I'm just talking about the war itself. Like when which is used as a kind of metaphor, like if that's the right word. Why not the Indo-China war, or why not Kargil? Why did you feel it had to be World War II?
Yeah. So we did think about that. It's not that we did not think about that, and that would have been very easy to incorporate in our storyline. You know, rather than him teaching World War II in school, he could have been teaching any of our historical stuff. My biggest thing was that there is something fresh which I always crave to bring to my audiences, both story-wise as well as visually, you know. And there has been such lovely stuff which has already been done, and in plenty of numbers, by some of our very renowned filmmakers in our own country on the historical wars which our country has been a part of. I personally felt that I would not be able to bring anything new on screen if I were to do that. You know, we've done Indo-Pak wars and Indo-China wars and Kargil and everything, and some very good stuff has happened.
I think Indo-China is just one, right? Hakikat, I don't think there's anything else.
Hakikat was there. I think Shaheed also.
Right.
You know, so I just felt that maybe, you know, if I were to bring something fresh for the audiences, you know, this was the way to go.
Right.
In one of the earlier drafts, there was a reference of Jallianwala Bagh.
Okay.
Which I removed after Udham Singh came.
Okay.
It no longer remained fresh, you know.
Right.
So I'm just telling you, you know, the process which filmmakers go through.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking because something else comes in, and then suddenly you realize, oh my God, that's just like my stuff, and then you have to make a change. Now, Janhvi, as an actor, obviously different people that you work with, they put new tools in your arsenal, so to speak, right? Because they have different styles of working. What did this man give you?
I think a lot of confidence in myself, because suddenly it felt like if you do a take and your director okays the take or says it's a good take, I think every actor still has that 30% doubt of like, did it land, did it not land? Like, I felt it, but I don't know. But when you have who I think is one of the greatest directors of our country, say, yes, you did a good job and believe in you and show faith in you, you can't help but start believing in yourself a little bit. And I think I was at a point in my life and career where I guess I needed that. So that reassurance from him meant a lot to me.
It meant a lot? Okay.
Yeah.
Did he give you any reassurance?
Varun, he troubled me a lot, but yeah, post the film he's been, and even during the film, he's been a very encouraging friend and co-actor.
Right. No, because he's been here a little longer than you have in the industry. So, and plus he's been through a lot more. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely a guiding light for sure, a sweet angel
Oh,
in my
wow.
life. But also to add to what Sir said, and so you can correct me if I'm wrong, I even think that greed is a very big theme in our film, and the Second World War, a lot of it stemmed from
Greed.
greed. So I think maybe that was also a parallel.
Also, it's actually multi-layered piece of work. There are so many aspects of human traits which get unearthed as you take the journey along with these two guys. That's also one aspect, you know, fake versus real
Yeah.
is also one aspect. There's so many of them.
Yeah, actually, that's one other thing, because somebody asked me, what did you think of the trailer? And all I could say was, it's very intriguing. But beyond that, I couldn't say anything, because it looked like something you had to see the movie to kind of get a full measure of. You know, it's not easy to see the trailer and say, it looks good I mean, it's intriguing. And I think that's the job that you have done well, which is to kind of set up something that, like, okay, now how are they going to execute this on screen? You know, like that question.
That's what my belief always is when it comes to a teaser or a trailer. It should intrigue you enough. If you give away the whole storyline, then I think your movie becomes just an extended version of the trailer where everybody knows exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
The joy of watching a movie for the first time without, like, I have been very fortunate that, you know, recently I got to see some pieces of work where I had no idea what I was watching. It's a different thing altogether, you know, when you get to watch something without knowing anything. So I don't even want to read the synopsis. I just want to watch it for the fun of it.
Right,
you know,
right,
so
right,
that's-
right.
Even because you mentioned the trailer, there were one or two shots, I think, in one of the earlier cuts where you would be able to decipher what is this film about. And Nitesh sir was like, "Nahin, ye nikal do. Ye pehle nikal
You
do."
said that?
No, I would always tell him, ki, "Sir, can we put this shot in the trailer, you know, a little bit?" So he's like, "Nee, I don't want to give any hint. I don't want to give." By choice, I think Sir was very sure, and I think it's led to so much conversation actually with the trailer. Otherwise when you see a trailer, we're always judging it in that
either
way,
good
ki
or
massy
bad,
hai, ya commercial hai, ya arty hai, ya lamba hai, like that. With this trailer, actually this is one of my first trailers where there's been so much conversation. In 17 films, the first trailer where people are discussing,
And
ki, what
having
was that?
theories
What
and-
was this? You know, there's a lot of talk, and this is just a trailer.
Right.
So, yeah, and we are not obviously allowed to say anything, or Nitesh sir will get upset. So, you know, nobody's giving out the.
But Varun, do you always, like, you know, an actor's job technically gets over the day, you know, pack up happens, but do you always get involved in the marketing part of things? Like you just said, you were looking at the trailer and things like that. Do you always do that?
I'm very, very attached to my films. I think like most actors are, but yeah, I wouldn't say like I'd go to the point of going and wanting to be there with directors when they cut it and this and that. But I would love to be a part of the process and love to see it and it's you know, give my view on it and even just express whatever, because whatever you can express now, you can't express later, right? And when I saw the film, I was speechless. I didn't have anything to say. I told Sir, like, I was literally speechless when I saw Bawaal. I was just so happy with the film, that what was written on paper, how we managed to bring that out on celluloid and even better. And where these other aspects are done, that, see, I can't help it. I'm a director's son. So for my full childhood, I keep hearing these terms. DI, mixing, ये इसका level ये होना चाहिए. Theater में बजेगा तो it has to be on this level, वरना speaker. So these technical terms are just, I mean, I've woken up on mornings hearing my father screaming at people about these things, you know. कि वो अब तक क्यों नहीं हुआ, वो नहीं होगा, censor certificate नहीं मिला तो. So I just know how,
Right.
and because of that, by virtue, I know the people who do it also. So I know the people who are doing these technical things as well. So it's just,
It's an extension of
Yeah, it's just very exciting. Like Daniel Sir, who's done a background, has worked with Sriram before on Andhadhun. So I've heard so much about him from Sriram. I would hear about Sriram when Sriram was scoring Andhadhun, and then when Sir said, I'm trying to work with him, and he's done a fantastic job. I mean, uh, with the BGM.
Looks
So
forward
yeah, so I get very excited. Like the cinema geek in me gets very excited when I discuss these things.
So a question about the writing. Now it's hard enough to write something which is going to keep the audience occupied while they're watching the film, right? Now your films, you also try to get them to take something home, remembering the film or taking a bit of it with them. Does that add an extra amount of pressure while writing? Ki it's not just about keeping them engaged while they're in there, but also give them that takeaway. Does that add like a little more complexity to the writing process?
I don't take it as a pressure, and when we sit and write, me and my writers, there is no a set rule that we have to always write something which needs to have a message. I think somewhere we are managing to do it because we still, I think somewhere it's become a part of our DNA,
Right.
but rest assured, that there is no very, very conscious choice कि हमको यार ये करना ही है. Probably, we'll be very happy to write something which will end when the film ends.
Right.
Just an out and out entertaining film.
Right.
So there is no hard and fast rule.
Right.
But I'm very glad, that still have managed to make stuff which I think would not end when the movie ends.
Right.
We're still gonna make someone pause and reset. Hopefully, is what I think.
So it said something very interesting to us when we were doing readings with him. He said the USP of a great film is either in what they are saying or the way they are saying it. So I think,
Or the way it's said.
or the way it's said. So, and I think that that's very evident in all of his films.
Right.
In fact, I think all of his film, I think Dangal, what they were saying was what was amazing. Even Chivchore. Maybe I'm biased to Bawaal, but I think Bawaal has both.
Right. So you make this film. You have two choices because yesterday we all saw the trailer on a big screen and it looked fantastic. So you can go theatrical with it. You can go Amazon with it. 200 plus countries watching at the same time. So there are pluses and minuses to both, right? But did one part of you say, given the scale of the movie, given everything that we're showing, and also the stuff that so much of it is being shown in a Hindi film for the very first time, did one part of you want it theatrical?
Yes, I would be lying if I say that theatrical was not on my mind, But what happens is that filmmaking is a process, and there's a lot of teamwork which is involved, and there are a lot of stakeholders which are there in the film, So you have to finally look at all the possibilities which are there. Your end loyalty is always with the film, and whatever is the best for what you have on table, you have to go with the collective wisdom, of everybody who's there, and the collective wisdom pointed out that the way this film has turned out, it deserves to reach many more people, and the best possible way was this,
Right.
Reaching day and date so many people, so many countries on the same day, surely because of the way the film turned out,
Right.
and that seemed like probably the best, justice which we would be doing to this film which we have in our hands.
That's one of the most beautiful things the director said that to me I've ever heard, which is like the end loyalty always lies with the film. That's just so beautiful to hear. So on the one hand, then there's a question to all of you. On the one hand, you have a film which has brains being blown out, all these things, graphic, visuals, at least, On the other hand, you're having comedy, you're having song and dance, you're having bit cutesy love scenes and all that. How do you look at both these tonalities coexisting in the same film? Because let's say a Hollywood or a foreign country does a film, they pretty much follow one tonality from start to finish. Our sensibility is different. So I'd like to hear a bit about, this coexisting of these different sensibilities in a film. Ki.
I think, sorry, I feel like maybe the shift in tonality is seeming a little stark because we've seen a minute version,
Right.
a compressed version of
version, yeah.
the film. But when you see the film, I feel that it all makes sense.
Yeah.
The tonality, the way things are, and why they are the way that they are, and I don't. Nothing in this film is a gimmick. Nothing is there to follow a certain template of
That's
of
not
what
what I was
I
going-
know,
yeah,
I know,
yeah.
I know. But I'm just saying it's tonally it's true to its material. I think it was just in the compression of it in a trailer that might have seemed a little shifty, but.
See, it ultimately boils down to like what you ended up seeing them back to back in a 3-minute.
Yeah.
When you watch the movie,
It breathes more.
yes, there is a context to everything which you have seen, and they are poles apart. You
Right.
know? So,
Right.
I mean, it's not going to be what it seems like out there because it's there back to back.
Right, right. So, you said yesterday at the launch that we make movies for audiences and not for ourselves. How do we know what the audiences want? Because they always seem to be shifting. So, how do you, like when you're writing or when, let's say, you guys are acting and, you know, at different generations have different styles of acting, how do you know what the audience wants?
You know, if I had to just answer this organically, what it takes me back to, like, if you're acting in a play, like very initially when I was working as an actor, I had done a play in Prithvi. So that first experience I remember being on stage was that, you know, you're performing and there's an audience, and when they react, you feed off them. You really do feed off that energy when you're doing theatre. And then you perform, and then in certain scenes, you instinctively know that, you know, if I go a little more theatrical here, it might work, or if I become silent, it might work, or I do a gestured work. So it's feeding off them over there. So at least for me, when I am doing certain scenes, there is a big part of me, at least as an actor, because I'm an actor, so I'm like, you know, in this scene, I'm hoping this will be the outcome of the scene. I'm hoping I'll get a chuckle over here. I'm hoping this intrigue, this will happen. But very honestly, Bawaal is one film where, like, I really feel when my thinking used to stop, I think Nitesh's thinking starts over there. It really went beyond me. So every time I was doing something, and then when I saw the film, I was just amazed of the impact the
How
scene
you
was
reacted.
having. I was like, yeah, but I had done something else. How is this? You know, I would feel like I'm moving my hand so much, but my hand only moved so much. Like that's the feeling that I got. I'm like, I don't know how did he do that? You know, how did he make Ajju just so like, you feel like there's this guy, he probably lives like away from it. It's so believable. Everything is so, and the film is extraordinary because you have war, you have this, you have everything together. But it's just so believable that this happened to this family in Lucknow.
I think that the audience wants truth. I think it's either a filmmaker's truth, and that can mean originality, even the truth of his vision, even when it's something that's fantastical or mythical, or they want their truth portrayed with as much honesty as possible. They want truth from the actors. They want a director's vision and his truth and his voice to come out. Or if it's a film that's slightly more relatable, then they want their truth to be shown on the big screen. So I think it really boils down to that and different versions of the truth.
So writing is a very scary and lonely process. You know, you can only speculate. You can never be sure. You know, I've been through this speculation when I was doing Dangal. I've been through this speculation when I was doing Chichore also. Been through this speculation when we did Bawaal also. You know, there are certain things which you write which scares you. You know, like a lot of things about Dangal were very scary. You know, hero को आप ऐसा old ऐसा दिखा रहे हैं. He's even losing a fight to his daughter. You don't know how audiences are going to take that. You know, so your protagonists are losing the final match in Chichore. We are not used to having our protagonists losing in the crucial matches. You know, how it's a gut call. You know, end of the day, you can never be sure. You have to always go with your gut, and you sincerely keep your fingers crossed, hoping that your gut is right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone. All the best for Bawaal.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
பல்லாவரம் ஃபோக்கஸ் மென்ஸ்வேர் இப்போது மேடவாக்கத்திலும் ஓப்பனிங் ஆஃபர் டி-ஷர்ட் வெறும் 19, ஷர்ட்ஸ் 79 மற்றும் அனைத்து ஆடைகளும் 799 கிடைக்கும்.